Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new podcast today. I'm with my co-host Cal Vola, and today we kind of have a special guest, not probably one that you would think that would be on the show, but we're going to be using AI today, ChatGPT, and we're going to be using the Snapchat AI. What we're going to be doing is kind of asking it questions about the job force industry, whether it could be like best jobs in Canada or whatever the case is. We're going to let the conversation go, but I'm going to let Cal explain what ChatGPT is for everyone that maybe don't actually know.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is an AI language model developed by OpenAI. It is based on the generative pre-trained transformer. So that's what GPT stands for. So generative pre-trained transformer. And designed to generate human-like responses to given a prompt or conversational context.
And essentially, if anybody's ever tried it, it's really kind of like Google, but on steroids. What's really cool about ChatGPT, I mean, Google is really a search engine to help you find links or information, but ChatGPT will create scripts for you. It'll even create coding for you if you wanted to make a game or help, identify if code's even correct and stuff like that. It's definitely very good and cool software to use, but very scary as this evolves. I mean, there's no question what this will take over in the job force industry. So we thought it'd be kind of cool, kind of find out, do some interesting facts, find what are interesting facts about jobs out there currently right now. We'll focus kind of just in Canada, but if we ended up going a little bit more, but so right now I'm gonna ask the chat or Snapchat AI, and Snapchat AI, if anybody has Snapchat, you've probably seen it in the recent couple of weeks. It essentially is just called My AI, and it works relatively the same as ChatGPT, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask right now, what are the top jobs in Canada? Loading.
Yeah.
Some of the top jobs in Canada are software developer, nurse, accountant, electrician, and teacher. It's important to choose a career that you enjoy and aligns with your skills and values.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So
accountant, teacher, what are the other ones?
Software developer and a nurse, accountant, electrician, and a teacher. Interesting.
I'm so interested to why those are the top jobs. Like obviously software developer is huge. That's a massive one. But yeah, nursing obviously massively in demand. We need more nurses than any time before. Teachers as well. That's like super in demand job as well. And then accountants.
Here we go. I simply just asked, why are those the top jobs? Yeah. And it said, those are the top jobs because they are in high demand, well pay, and good job security. For example, software developers are needed to create and maintain computer programs. Hence why we got to keep ChatGPT alive. Nurses are needed to take care of the population. The accountants are needed to manage finances. These jobs are required specific skills and education that are often opportunities for career growth and advancement. Wow. That's true. Yeah, I mean, we got to keep the software going. We got to keep nurses to heal us. We got to have at the end of the day, every job's important, right?
Sure.
That's what it all comes down to.
That's crazy what the future has in store for us. And it's nuts, like just finding out like how is it really going to affect us kind of long term? Who's it really going to benefit? Is it going to benefit the businesses? Is it going to benefit the employees? Taking like redundant tasks away from those employees, or finding other ways for employees to use ChatGPT or OpenAI as a tool to improve their jobs and make things kind of more efficient and whatnot. So
it's funny too, because we had a conversation with Spencer, 2 episodes ago, talking about ChatGPT and how it will benefit and how it will, good and bad things. But one thing he made a comment is it's going to be tough for people to organically think moving forward. You know what I mean? Because if you're so dependent and reliant on ChatGPT, like for example, even doing our YouTube descriptions, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not the first to say I definitely use it. It makes it easy. Simply say, write a YouTube description about Cal and JJ talking about ChatGPT, and then bam, in a couple of seconds, it's right there. Why would I take the time to think how I'm going to write it when it simply comes out? I mean, sure, you could change a couple things like, names and all that kind of stuff. But it's quite interesting what you can do. You don't even realize the capacity of what it can do. Like, I just watched a video yesterday of a girl explaining like the top things you can do, and you can actually make a game for you.
Wow.
Like, create a code, make a game. Like, it's as simple as like the Pong ones, you know. But it's cool that it'll develop that game and create it for you.
Wow. I'm starting a bubble soccer game. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, so one question. So I asked ChatGPT. It was like, what are 20 questions about like jobs, careers, and business that's going to like affect and kind of change for us in the future. So the first one that we had was, how is AI, particularly ChatGPT, going to revolutionize the workplace in terms of business, careers, and jobs? And it gave me a list of about 10 different things. So the first one is enhanced efficiency. So obviously just making things more efficient for employees and businesses to be able to, get rid of redundant tasks and all that kind of stuff, which I think is a pretty big one. Personalized customer experience. So AI chatbots and virtual assistants can provide personalized customer interactions by understanding preferences, addressing queries promptly, and offering tailored recommendations, improving the customer satisfaction, loyalty, and ultimately benefiting the business. Wow. Jesus, man. Yeah. So, and then, decision making, helping with decision making, new jobs in roles and opportunities, workplace collaboration, upskilling and reskilling. So I'm sure that means just they're taking current, jobs and being like, all right, now we have to change kind of your role based on the ChatGPT being able to help you with what you're doing. So it's pretty wild.
It is crazy. I mean, there's no question. I think, it's one of those things where I don't think it'll take over any trade job.
No.
Right? Like unless you have a physical robot on site, assembling a wall, whatever the case is. I mean, this is certainly an office-based job, something script writing, anything related into computer analytics, all that kind of stuff. I feel like ChatGPT or, future AI will certainly take over as we're seeing more and more, because there's even more like AI now developing pictures and crazy pictures, like not even just like a little like a stick man. We're talking like fully developed pictures with colors and everything. Like, it's crazy to think that, like, where will it be in 5 years from now, right?
Sure.
And how can businesses today utilize it to its full potential to get farther without necessarily having to have employees, right? Because if you had an employee that was making scripts, whatever the case is, and you just say, hey, ChatGPT, write the script, like, why would you pay somebody $20 an hour to do that? It just doesn't make sense, right?
Oh, 100%. And it's crazy, man. Just like all those tasks that are super redundant, and like you said, like the copywriting, anything like with the computer, it seems like it's going to kind of affect, anything with our hands, like we should be okay. Of course, until like robots come into play, and then we're like, God damn, this robot from, iRobot can like make like 1,000 widgets, like in under an hour, where it takes us like a week. So those are some of the scary things, down the line, like in the future and whatnot. So,
and by the way, Cal and I watched iRobot like a week ago. Okay, and if any of you want to watch that movie again, it's kind of scary if you actually like really pay attention in that movie again. Like I think it was 2035. Robots coming in. Vicky was like ChatGPT. Like
or Alexa.
Yeah, or Alexa. Like, it's kind of actually funny when you now rewatching, you start thinking of all the robotic type, with AI that are coming into play, and you rewatch that today. It's kind of like at the end of the video.
It's going to be interesting. So so next question for ChatGPT. So, what are the specific areas that AI is anticipated to have a substantial influence or impact in the future? So the biggest impact are going to be in healthcare, finance and banking, manufacturing and automation, retail and e-commerce, transportation and logistics, energy and utilities, agriculture and farming, education. It basically gave me everything. Everything. Wow. Okay. So let's dive into the first one, healthcare. AI can assist in medical diagnostics, drug discovery, personalized medicine, patient monitoring, and streamlining administrative tasks to enhance healthcare delivery and patient outcomes. Wow.
Jesus.
Okay.
How?
So nursing is the most in-demand job, and AI is going to assist them in making their jobs kind of easier and getting them maybe to see more patients, be able to help them improve the healthcare system and create efficiencies and make it more effective, sort of thing.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
finance and banking. So AI can improve fraud detection, risk assessment, customer service, financial planning, leading to more efficient and secure financial systems. Wild.
We should ask ChatGPT to do our banking for us.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. So, next one is manufacturing and automation. So AI-driven automation can optimize production processes, quality control, predictive maintenance, and supply chain management, enhancing productivity and reducing costs. Makes sense. If you say so.
Yeah, I believe you.
Sure. So it seems like it's going to hit every industry. Like,
Yeah.
every-
In some way, shape, or form, it's going to help.
sure.
You know?
Sure.
And even like finding like more and more. I mean, there's more and more businesses that are looking for hires, right? I mean, like jobs that are more and more coming up available. And I mean, the tough part is obviously this isn't going to take over your jobs like pouring coffee, for example.
Sure.
You know, well, that's not true. I mean, you think about it.
Think
you
about
know,
anything.
anything. Yeah, true. I mean, not this software, but I mean, there's stuff that can be coming down the pipeline. Like there's already fully automated fast food joints, right? There's the, I mean, I've seen them on the internet. I mean, I'm sure they're going global soon, but that's something that's we're not too far away.
Sure.
You know, like you think of the mundane task or like the jobs that require someone. You know, you don't really think of how much longer it will take until that job is replaced.
Sure. Sure. I mean, between self-driving cars, robots,
Yeah.
and then ChatGPT, they got like the whole thing kind of figured out. So
Yeah, we're just the ant farm.
we're the farm. So we need to move to farms and start
Yeah.
farming the land, I suppose.
Somewhere far north.
Dan, hit us up with the chicken farm, right?
Even one question I was asking the Snapchat AI, just for curiosity, what are some of the top paying jobs in Canada, right? Because if you're, let's say you're 20, 21 years old now, and you want to get into a job today, you don't realize by the time you're done schooling that job, industry, field, or whatever the case is, could be completely different because of ChatGPT or AI, right? So some of the top paying jobs in Canada are surgeon, physician, dentist, pharmacist, and lawyer. These jobs require a high level of education training, and they are in high demand. However, it is important to choose a career that enjoys and aligns with your skills and values. It's funny to think, though, these are the top paying jobs today,
Yeah.
right? But in 5 to 10 years, could it be trades that are the top paying jobs?
No one wants to do it. It's super hard work.
Yeah.
Obviously the demand is there, but the supply isn't. So it's going to increase costs. I could see it, man. Like, I feel like the trades guy is almost like the new lawyer, the new doctor.
Soon,
there was this massive push, like, to have doctors, to have lawyers, to have, very educated professionals. And now it's kind of like the real estate market and, these service businesses that go out there and, do the things that everybody doesn't want to do. Ultimately, the demand's just increasing every year. Mm-hmm. And obviously with that demand increasing, price is going to go up and the supply is down. And you're so right. It could be the new The new doctor.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that, I mean, there's people out there that are good with their, education, as far as background goes, but then there's also people that are just good with their hands.
Sure.
Just want to fix a problem and dive right in. Mm-hmm. And even now asking, I was, what are the top paying trade jobs currently? Mm-hmm. Which actually is quite interesting. Some of the top paying trade jobs in Canada are elevator mechanic, pipeline technician, industrial mechanic, steam fitter or pipe fitter, and heavy duty equipment technician. These jobs require specialized skills and training, and they are in high demand. Man, every job's in high demand. Trade jobs are a great option for those who want to work with their hands and enjoy problem solving. Exactly. And you know what? When I was in the trade myself, when I was being an automotive apprentice mechanic, you don't necessarily ever have to think about anything electronics until, now getting into the type of cars that are coming out with the type of electronics that they have. Mm-hmm. It's more than just being hands-on and being a problem solver. You have to be an engineer to figure out some of these cars, know? It's good that we have computers to fix the problems or tell us what the problems are, mm-hmm. but, some of the newer cars now, mechanic should be number one on here.
Yeah.
We need to change that.
Sure. And it's funny, too, how ChatGPT's this is in demand, all these jobs are in high demand, all that kind of stuff. And it's basically saying, you need to go do these jobs because that's something that we can't do.
Yeah.
And we got the rest. So we need you guys to do these specialized sort of things with your hands because that's probably going to be the hardest thing. There's figuring out how AI down the road is really going to be able to look at a problem and assess what the options are for it and fixing that problem. That's probably one of the hardest things. You can't just teach an AI that. That is human instinct. That's so many different levels that, from experience, being around for 30, 40, 50 years, a lot of these guys, you just can't replace that type of knowledge and the troubleshooting that you have to go through, right? So ChatGPT and probably the internet's you guys need to do these jobs because these are things that we can't take care of, sort of thing.
Sure.
So with the rise of AI, what skills or knowledge areas do you believe will become increasingly valuable for job seekers and professionals? So basically all the different things that would work well with AI, kind of side by side and whatnot. So AI and machine learning. So developing a strong understanding of AI concepts, machine learning algorithms, and data analysis techniques will be highly valuable. Knowledge of neural networks, deep learning, and natural language processing can provide a solid foundation for working with AI systems. So I guess a job where you find out how to utilize AI to be able to complete some type of task. Seems and then, data science and analytics, programming, software development, problem solving, and critical thinking. And that's what Spencer brought up in the other podcasts, the critical thinking. So the ability to identify complex problems, analyze them, and propose innovative solutions will be crucial. AI technology often requires creative problem-solving skills to address challenges and optimize processes. So basically connecting the two, connecting the AI to the real-life application and kind of figuring out how you can marry those two together, sort of thing. And then ethical and responsible AI, which is going to be, kind of crazy because I think Elon's even saying, he's man, I don't know, if AI is really going to be that safe for people down the line and in the future, right? So, there's a ton more. So it's wild. It's wild. Oh, man. So
that's crazy. Yeah. And I've heard reports too, with Elon Musk saying that how dangerous AI, artificial intelligence is, and I made that comment about the whole anthill or ant farm earlier because that's how he put it, It's not like we, if we wanted to build a road, there's an ant farm in the way. At the end of the day, it's not that we don't care about the ants. It's just they got to move.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. And
if the robots or AI is looking at us like that, it's so true. If we're just the anthill and we're just a bunch of ants in the way of AI developing and being someone, then there goes human civilization, God. Crazy. Oh my gosh.
What are they talking about even with like equal income? Everyone has the same amount of money coming in, and AI really takes over everything for the most part, and just like there's the tasks that we have to kind of do, but for the most part it's just like, I forget what it's called. It's a very like socialistic thing where it's a universal income. So everybody makes 40 grand a year,
No matter what job you are.
no matter what job you do.
Right.
And it's
Ask ChatGPT. I think it's I know what you're talking about. There's a term for it where people have the same income no matter if you're a doctor, you work for like building streets, whatever the case is.
Universal basic income, also known as universal income or basic income, is a concept that refers to a form of social welfare system in which all individuals in a society receive a regular and unconditional cash payment from the government. Under a UBI program, every citizen, regardless of their employment status or income level, would receive a fixed amount of money on a regular basis. The key characteristics of a universal basic income are it's universal. Everyone gets the same thing no matter where you're located. Unconditional. It doesn't matter what type of work or behavior requirements there are. Recipients are not required to work, seek employment, or meet certain criteria to receive the payment. And it's regular and it's direct. This is crazy. And I think Elon even talked about this. Like, eventually, you won't have to do anything. Everything's going to be kind of done for you, And we're just going to be existing with no real.
It's tough to think. I mean, we all have full circle, right? I mean, you work, you have employees, you pay those employees, they get money, they go buy stuff. Whatever they buy, that company gets money, then the money is got to pay their employees. Like, it's literally just a whole circle, right? So it's hard to think. I mean, how that will change the industry if we were to go to fixed income. Because I just asked the Snapchat AI, like, what is the average income in Canada, right? And it says the average income in Canada varies by province and occupation, but the total income in Canadian households in 2020 was $79,930. However, it's important to note that this number can be influenced by factors such as age, education, experience. So 79,000, that's a household income. That's not per person.
For some reason, I thought it was it's household income. I
That's
thought
in
per
2020.
person was probably obviously 79, so it's like 40 grand.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask, what is the average per person income?
That's wild. I mean, even going back to like CERB, everyone making $2,000 a month. That was basically the universal income at that time, and they were kind of talking about it. How they want to like transition over to that, or do a test and see how people react to it, and how if people are down or if people are like, what the heck is going on here? Let me work.
Yeah, so I just asked, what is the average income per person in Canada? Pretty much had the same verbiage, but it said in 2020 it was $35,280.
Sure.
That seems low. Average income.
Average, yeah.
That's the average. So there's people that are making obviously more. There's people that are making less. But the majority of people are making around $35,000 a year. Wow.
So what percentage population earns over 100K? Because that's the thing. Like, earning over 100K I think it's a pretty small percentage. I mean,
well, here while you're asking that, I'm gonna ask, what is the population of Canada? So in 2021, the estimated population in Canada is around 38 million people.
Right.
Okay. So what's the stat of the average over 100,000?
Okay, so in Canada, the percentage of Canadians earning over 100,000 for Ontario, approximately 15% of individuals earn over 100K. In British Columbia, 17.3%, so higher than Ontario. Alberta, 21% earn over 100K. Alberta's the highest. Wow. Quebec 8.4, Manitoba 10.6, Saskatchewan 13.9, and the list goes on. The lowest one is New Brunswick at 7.6%. Nope, sorry, PEI 5.3%. So it's, 15% of individuals. So, and then above that, who making 500,000 or more or $1 million or more, those numbers just keep getting lower and lower and lower, right? So it's very average for people to make, well under 100K.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Because I just said, like, what is 15% of 38 million? I know I could put it in a calculator, but just why not just ask the question? And that's 5.7 million people that will make over 100,000.
Wow.
I know it sounds like a lot, but it doesn't sound like a lot.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
15%. But I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of these jobs are, can we call them jobs or careers, whatever the case is? I mean, obviously you go through a career to hopefully get the job that pays you over 100,000. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of jobs out there that are just jobs.
Sure.
Right. Being an assistant, whatever the case is. I can't think of anybody. Just like jobs that you wouldn't necessarily have to go to school for 3 years. But there's just a lot of jobs out there that are good paying,
sure.
But not necessarily over 100K.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, people who I would say put the time in, but also business owners too. Right. But is that like the business that are making over 100K, or is that the person making over 100K too? Right. So you never know. I mean, they could just take 50K as like as their own income. Mm-hmm. Right. But the business makes 300, 400,000 in sales. Right. So
sure.
There's definitely a lot more business owners today as well too, mm-hmm. than ever before, like entrepreneur, starting their own, or even a lot of people doing side hustle stuff.
Freelancers, self-employed, sole proprietorships, partnerships, all that kind of stuff, right? And yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild, and even like sole proprietorships. So if you make 100,000 with the business, then that is your personal income as a sole proprietor.
Right.
If you're a corporation and you make 100,000, and you pay yourself like 50 grand out of that, then essentially you're an employee of that corporation, and you would take 50 grand, and then obviously pay all your expenses. Whatever's left over is kind of your profit, and that obviously gets taxed differently than an individual income. So
and how they structure it with like business owners and stuff like that. But from the comment that I made earlier, because a lot of people are not only doing their full-time jobs, mm-hmm. but then also coming home and doing some crazy side hustle stuff too, right? At the end of the day, when you look at household income and it's $35,000, I know a lot of people are spending more time doing cash things on the side. You wouldn't necessarily know that it's going into their income per se. But I was just curious, and I'd asked, what are some of the top side hustle incomes? And it said some of the top side hustle incomes that are generated in additional income includes freelance writing, graphic design, social media management, pet sitting, and tutoring. These side hustles can be done remotely, which makes it ideal for those which are busy schedules and who want to work from home. Other popular side hustles include driving for ride-sharing service, delivering food, and selling products online. The key to the success of a side hustle is finding something you enjoy and that fits your schedule. That's cool.
Wow.
Okay, so freelance writing, graphic design, social media management, pet sitting, and tutoring. Those are the top side hustle things that you can do.
Got it.
And pet sitting makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like the amount of pets that have been adopted in the last 2 to 3 years because of COVID.
Sure.
And people now going back to work.
Yeah.
Right? Pet sitting or pet walking, I'm sure has become far more popular. Or even any teenagers listening to this, or young adults that are just looking for some extra cash.
Sure. Sure.
If you like animals, why not? Spend 2-3 hours a day, make a couple extra bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not too labor intensive, that's for sure.
Yeah.
and it's hard not to love animals. So
Yeah, unless you get a bad one.
it's yeah. Oh man, that's so great.
But it's good to know. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, jobs are great because a lot of these side hustles for a lot of people is what turns them into full-time jobs or full-time entrepreneur-like jobs, right?
Sure.
Because if you were to get to like pet sitting and you grew so well on the side and you were making more as a side hustle than you were your actual job, then why wouldn't you go full-time?
100%.
Right? And that's what we're seeing more and more is people, you know, finding that niche that they enjoy, whether it's graphic designing or one I see on social media a lot is you see those people making the carpets of a logo. Like, for example, if we were to take What Do You Do podcast logo and we'd add like a white background and then they go and they make a carpet out of all the colors.
Oh, wow.
No, you haven't seen that?
I haven't seen
or
that.
Or like any designs? Okay, I'll have to show you after this episode. But anyways, one of those is becoming very big on like social media because it's interesting to watch. It gets people locked in. You start thinking of logos or designs that you would want made, and it can be as simple as just having a little carpet in your, you know, like we could have a What Do You Do podcast logo on the ground here for the video. And that's a side hustle that somebody would just take in, film themselves doing it.
Sure.
You know, charge whatever they charge, you know, because I did actually get a quote from one. I was curious. And they're about $400 a piece.
Wow.
Right? And let's just say even if you made anywhere from $100 to $200 on one, and it took you maybe a day or, you know, 4 or 5 hours to do, like that's a pretty good side hustle.
Sure.
But you just got to market yourself.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So one question I'm curious about asking is how can ChatGPT or AI help individuals with making side hustle income? So,
and I think like with ChatGPT and AI, what's so cool is that it really benefits the business owner, not necessarily like the employee. And if you are like a side hustle, freelancer, or whatever it may be, it's going to help you be able to like have a full-time job and then be able to very efficiently and effectively complete these side hustle jobs, you know, and kind of use AI as like that tool that can really kind of speed up the process of getting things done, taking out those redundant tasks that take like way too long. You're up till 1 o'clock in the morning and you have to get up for 7 for your full-time job or whatever it may be. So I think it's really going to help the business owner, the freelancer, the hustle person, and then obviously the corporations for all the redundant tasks, but specifically the businesses are really going to benefit, I think, from ChatGPT.
Even just learn like that one video I was talking about with a girl, like she would copy a whole page or website, and she would put it into ChatGPT and say, summarize this in one sentence or maybe a paragraph. So instead of spending maybe 30 minutes of reading a whole article, you could have it in 2 or 3 sentences, right? So again, making time more valuable and not necessarily having to read the whole thing if you just want to summarize notes too, right?
Sure.
So again, to ask Chat or the Snapchat AI, how can AI help with making side incomes or side hustle incomes? AI can help you make side incomes by providing insights and recommendations based on your skills, interests, and available time. For example, an AI-powered platform can analyze your social media activity and suggest ways to monetize your online presence. AI can also help you identify the opportunities and trends such as emerging markets and technologies. Additionally, AI can automate certain tasks such as scheduling and invoicing, which can save you time and help you focus on your core business. So that's just it. I mean, AI can help you take away all the crap no one wants to do, right? Or paying somebody to do.
Sure.
You know?
And that's the whole thing. Like, time is money, and ultimately, if you can complete your tasks in 2 hours instead of like 6. And you can have that freedom and flexibility to go and do all the other things like travel and get out and have, you know, physical exercise, fitness, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely that massive benefit to be able to crush the job or the work that you need to do in that small amount of time and be able to use the time, you know, that you always wanted to be able to go do these different things. So that's really cool about it as well. Yeah. And then, what was that?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, just it's utilizing, technology to help benefit individuals. Not necessarily from like a business standpoint, but just like day to day. Like even if we wanted to write a book, right? Like I thought about writing a book, about sales and all that stuff, and it could be just literally as easy as asking ChatGPT to write or help write a book, and then proofreading it, giving it to an author, whatever the case is, and help create that great storyline. But imagine, like I don't know how long it takes to write a book. ChatGPT and AI can get it done in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's crazy to think that, right?
Sure.
It's just the more specific you are on what you want to say, the better it's going to be.
Sure.
But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you say, hey, make me a book, make that book, create it in an Audible or whatever the case is, or an online reading, and then try to sell it on Spotify?
Sure.
Right? Like how long does that take? I don't know. I mean, obviously you'd have to proofread the book, make sure it sounds good. But crazy to think you could literally just have a robot do everything that you wanted to do to create a side hustle if you wanted to get into being like an author and making books. Like that's a great way. Or being a journalist. Well, I'm a journalist. I get ChatGPT to write my my script. Like, could you imagine if someone came to me like, "Hey, can you write me a full-out script without using the AI?" No.
We just hope that like AI kind of stays now, because now we're becoming reliant on it, and if it ever was to go away or something like that, I mean, it would be kind of crazy. Like now we're becoming so reliant on it, it's kind of doing everything for us, and then we have to go back to critical thinking and actually, doing everything that we need to do. So
I just can't wait till they flick the switch, off. Could you imagine? Oh my God.
Jesus.
Like how everyone is so dependent on everything. Sure. And how easy it is to, go to a grocery store and grab a bag of milk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think COVID really helped us understand like, oh my God.
Sure.
Life, world could end. Go to Walmart, go to your grocery store, whatever the case is, grab all the canned food that's going to last for 5 years because you don't know what kind of food's going to be brought to the table. Like we live in such a society that everything's brought to you in such an easy form.
Sure.
One little switch.
We're getting lazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there's a massive pushback going on right now from people that are like, I'm feeling it. Like I feel lazy. Like I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing enough in a day. Like I want to do more stuff. I want to do more stuff with my hands, all that kind of stuff. And as things become easier, we have all this extra time. And what are we going to do with it? Are we going to go online? Are we going to sit on social media, scroll through? Or are we going to do something productive with that time? And that's kind of the problem that we have to like find a solution to is, how can people now utilize this extra time they have because their tasks are becoming, they're crushing it out so much quicker than they have in the past, and now taking that time and trying to make it, productive and useful. And
even like no one knows what it's like to be bored anymore.
True.
Yeah. Like the second you don't know what to do, you're on your phone.
Sure.
Like entertainment is in front of you every step of the way, right? Like, or any second of the day, rather. I mean, you can, like playing checkers or chess, whatever the case is, like games like those, are becoming more and more obsolete, right? I mean, but, 10, 20 years ago, that was the game you looked forward to every weekend, or board games, or whatever the case is, right?
Sure.
It's crazy to think. I mean, we live in a society where more and more, everyone just needs that instant gratification, and no one has any more patience, right? You won't wait in a line, or whatever the case is, and you're sitting there, you're waiting, like you're already annoyed because you're just having to wait.
Sure.
Right? Sure. Everyone would love to just show up, grab a coffee, and leave. I mean, I guess that's why they do, order ahead in that sense. But yeah, it just no one knows what it's like to be bored.
It's so true, man. Like I mean, if you're bored, you pull out your phone and you start scrolling, right? I mean, if you took away the phone, took away everything, and you finish your task, and then you had to like sit in a room for an hour with like nothing, like how crazy would that be? Legit being bored and being just with yourself and like being immersed in like your what you're thinking, everything that's going on, and all that kind of stuff. It's wild, man. And when we were younger, like, yeah, I was bored all the time.
You had to find things to do, whether it was playing sports or like me, I was big into RC cars, going outside and utilizing that hour,
Sure.
playing with an RC car. Now it's so tough to think that, like, again, another 5 to 10 years, what does that look like?
Sure.
Of continuing this, like, instant gratification, right? Like the upcomers that are going to be more like, let's say, you have somebody that's 20 years old, maybe 25, 30 years old today. And then in 5 years, they're in a job. And then the younger generations that are coming up, right? Like I'm seeing kids at like 3 years old, 5 years old being on iPads, right? Sure. A lot of good and bad from that, right? Good because it's developing the brain, but bad because, kid starts crying. Oh, here's the phone, right? Don't cry anymore, right? Like here's electronics. Shut up, like, right? Like, I see that day and day of more and more parents just forcing electronics to get away from either discipline or actually, parenting their kids.
Sure,
it's tougher, more to see, and I think that would be a big impact in 10 to 20 years when we see that generation grow up.
And it's no fault of the parents too. Like
it's easy.
It's easy. Like, we're all falling into the trap of like technology and the easiness of it. And if you're bored, put a kid in front of a screen and they'll kind of shut up, and stop crying and all that kind of stuff. And it's you don't realize the short term, what's happening in the short term and what it can turn into in the long term.
Yeah.
And it's super worrying. If all of the generation is going that way, then I guess there won't be, it'll be the normal. Like it won't be like how it was back in the day. It'll be the new normal. So it's definitely concerning and whatnot. So living online, dude. Yeah. So one other question I asked ChatGPT to see, where is everything going for people that are in jobs, careers now? What are things going to look like in 2030? So, like, what's the future going to be like? What are some of the industries kind of to look at, maybe to invest in, whatever it may be? So, obviously, the biggest one is technology and data-related jobs. Another one is healthcare and elderly care. So, as like the baby boomers continue to age, obviously they're going to need more care, all that kind of stuff, and whatnot. So, obviously, healthcare, sustainable energy, and green jobs. So, obviously, Tesla investing in energy-related solar panels, all that kind of stuff. Digital marketing and e-commerce, data analytics and insights, creative and design roles. So graphic designers, UX designers, content creators, artists are expected to remain relevant as they bring unique perspectives and skills that complement automation and AI. Renewable and clean energy jobs. Mental health and well-being. Wow, big one. Increase the focus on mental health, well-being, likely to lead to greater demand for psychologists, counselors, therapists, wellness coaches to support individuals' mental health needs. Virtual reality and personalized healthcare and genetics.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Jesus, holy. Yeah, I mean,
and sorry, these are this is what is going to affect by 2030?
Yeah, so what they're saying is, kind of where everything's going now, where are we going to wind up kind of in 2030? What are going to be the most in-demand jobs? What are, what's going to be trending at that time sort of thing? And all these things are trending now, but obviously it's, I feel like it's going to grow.
The more and more we get into it. Yeah.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so whoever's listening, if you're looking to get into a career and you're like, what's a good job in 10 years? Ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Based on your skills and what you enjoy.
Sure.
But it's so true, right?
It is.
So we're going to be wrapping up today's podcast, but one thing I wanted to ask just for the fundamental between Cal and I, how to make a successful podcast in 2023. Because this is good education for us, too. At the end of the day, we just started 2 months ago, and we want to find ways to learn and grow even faster. So To make a successful podcast in 2023, you should focus on creating a high-quality content that resonates with your target audience. This includes choosing a topic that you're passionate about and that has a clear audience, as well as developing a unique voice and style that sets your podcast apart from others. You should also invest in quality equipment and audio editing software to ensure that your podcast sounds professional. In terms of distribution, it's important to make your podcast available to multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts to reach the widest possible audience. Finally, promoting your podcast through social media and other channels can help build your loyal following and attract new listeners over time. You know what? It's so true. I mean, at the end of the day, we're on every platform, okay? So if you have Spotify, if you have Google Podcasts, if you have Apple Podcasts, be sure to find us on there because we already are there. So you know what? I think we're doing pretty good, you know, now that I look at it. It's just finding more people. So if you like today's podcast, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. And if you actually like the whole ChatGPT, talking to AI, this is kind of like a fun idea Cal and I had. So if you do like it, please put it down in the comments so we can see. And maybe we'll do this kind of maybe once a month or maybe once every other month and have kind of more of an open conversation with computers. Because the reality is, life, jobs, everything is changing so fast. It'd be good to kind of get the new trends as to what is going on. So again, if you like today's podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening over some platform, please be sure to reach out to us and let us know that you do like today's content and like that video to give us the support. And be sure to hit subscribe and hit the notifications so you don't miss out on any future podcasts. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we will certainly catch you in the next episode. See you guys. Bam! Yo, that was great. Good shit.
That was different
Oh,
for sure.
that was really fun.
It was good.